A top-secret military film unit was housed in Laurel Canyon at Lookout Mountain Air Force Station, declassified in the 1990s, which the military and other government agencies used as a film studio based in Hollywood between 1947, when the National Security Act was passed, and 1969, when the base was decommissioned. There, a staff of some 250 filmmakers, including civilians, who had worked with Warner Brothers, MGM, and Universal as writers, cameramen, producers, directors, and animators, all who had top-secret clearances to make movies for the military, in a compound that included sound stages, screening rooms, film processing rooms, and even 17 temperature and climate-controlled film vaults, just like any other major Hollywood studio. In fact, in the 22 years the place was operational, they produced 20,000 movies, more than all of Hollywood combined during the same period.
The trusting American public will never see this.
Remember, don't talk.
There's gonna be fanfare.
Lookout Mountain, Air Force Station. Secret crap. To control the public. Located somewhere.
Lookout Mountain Air Force Station.
The squarest building you've ever seen.
Aerospace Audiovisual Service.
In a world where mindset is created by television set, Lookout Mountain is king.
Facilities to accomplish all phases of photography.
Though unsuspecting, its control over society is nearly total.
Staffed by both civilian and military filmmakers of the United States Air Force.
And every Hollywood person we could find.
Both bought off and
In
coerced.
a portion of this modern building in the San Fernando Valley.
If you wanted to work in this town, you would do
The
propaganda.
organization's mission.
Electronic control of the population.
Photographic documentation of Air Force activities. The
Propaganda.
production of scientific films.
Propaganda.
Technical films.
And the brainwashing of the public.
Training films.
And manufacturing events for public consumption.
For the Atomic Energy Commission.
Fear tactics and demonstrations of power.
Air Force exercises.
And scaring the crap out of the
For
public.
civil defense.
With propaganda.
For the Air Force.
Fake UFO videos.
As well as other government agencies.
Propaganda.
Word propaganda has taken on a very bad connotation. It was originally a perfectly good word.
Films requiring animation may get their start in this division.
Brainwashing starts with the youth.
Inking this cell is only one of an experienced team with special skills in all phases of technical animation.
Because 2-year-olds like cartoons.
The completed cell, as it is finally photographed here, must often effectively portray an abstract or extremely complex idea.
That is easy to manipulate, weld, and create control.
The camera division is completely equipped for both stage and location photography.
Enough to dupe everyone.
Special effects are our specialty.
In just a moment, we'll see some clips from documentary coverage and the many productions that have passed through this laboratory.
Because Hollywood had nothing on us.
Laboratory operations require a high degree of skill and scientific control.
Scientific control of the population.
Because regular people don't need to
Not
know.
only our production unit, but others
Unless we want them to
around
know.
the world.
Show them dancy pictures that only the simple-minded will understand.
Sound requirements
This is how your society is controlled.
rebuilt and
Programming
modified.
starts at the touch of a button. Memories are recorded on these magnetic tapes, then played back to world leaders in their sleep to undermine them with subliminal threats and bullying taunts. Like, nah, you'll never win.
Produced here.
Psychological threats can really be drilled in
Let's have a
a
seat and take a
Pavlovian
brief look at some
and
of our
extremely
typical
Aldous Huxleyan manner. Yes, it's a brave new world, and it starts in the mind's eye, the television set, and the movie theater.
The Air Force Missile Mission, starring Jimmy Stewart.
A total hack and
Photographed here
sellout.
at Lookout Mountain
His mouth
to
literally
explain
flaps
weapons
at the
and
drop of the
policy,
government
to
dime.
show how both planes and missiles are needed for our defense. Newscaster Walter Cronkite introduced
A
and
total
narrated
hack
another
and
of our
flunky
films,
who would say
Alert
anything for
in the
money,
Pacific.
who you consider almost like a grandfather, who reads from cue
In a
cards
series
and tells
of
it like it
people-to-people
isn't.
films, we are also helping the East to Meet the West.
Wasn't he the Bohemian Grove owl?
A film entitled Blood Brothers, produced to help explain Philippine culture to American
We boutique
servicemen,
in local
was introduced
cultures
by
of
Ambassador
whatever
Romulo.
color, race, or creed.
This portion of the film was shot on the beach in Manila. The local fire department produced the rain, a Navy landing craft created the waves,
Look
an
at
Air
this.
Force helicopter
Help me.
produced the wind.
How would you
me.
know if this was real or completely made up in a
American and
Hollywood
Philippine
studio?
Actors played the parts, and
Actors.
Lookout Mountain technicians directed the action.
Actors played the
This
parts.
combined effort added up to a dramatic and interesting motion picture.
An interesting motion picture we accidentally told people was real.
Screen actor Glenn Ford
Another total hack at sellout.
starred in Taiwan.
But the fact that he's infiltrating the minds of an entire country is an added perk that you can't just
we moved
purchase.
on to make a similar film in Korea, explaining Koreans to Americans.
Everything you know about the Asian world was manufactured, framed, and edited in Lookout Mountain.
Our technicians worked on
Yes, the
stages
public's
and
impression
promoting customs.
of a faraway country that we're bombing and or at war with
Some of them old
was
and
very
strange
carefully
lands.
framed in Hollywood.
Some of them more familiar and shared with the people of other lands.
Religious indoctrination is also a service that we
A
offer.
blend of precision flying by the United States Air Force.
This is how we skew perception and give the idea that huge crowds are in place when they're just paid actors.
Breaking the language barrier.
A show of threat reminded them of the power of the United States and why they should not rebel.
We have photographed Robert Stack, star of The Untouchables.
Another total hack at sellout, who's been flapping his gums at the government dime since he was 12.
Vic Morrow, Sergeant Saunders of Combat, another
Because
popular
all
actor.
of them are part of our government. Just like Hollywood.
Kathy Crosby,
Everybody. The military
commercial on
owns
nursing.
everybody.
Bob Hope, and Jerry Colonna. With a
Bob
pinch on
Hope got
physical
a
fitness.
surgical portion created where an arm can direct his very movements. He had strings
They
attached
appeared in
surgically.
Okay.
the Army films, portions of which were shot by Lookout Mountain crews. On the lighter side, we support the annual Bob Hope Christmas tour.
He's an ass puppet.
Bob Cummings and his
Cannot
son
believe you
starred
just
in a film on Air Force Academy activities, a film used in the cadet recruiting campaign. Our stage has heard the voices of and played host to many celebrities. from
Celebrities are
Station Suite,
stabled
as well as
like
pilots,
actual
military, and
horses.
Department of Defense personnel.
They're fed, they're pampered, and paraded around. Words are put in their
Our
mouth.
representative provides technical photographic assistance. Goes along with
We could place assets posing as reporters in any country, any hillside, any battle conflict. This man can no longer think for himself.
Prior to the test ban, our camera crews ranged from the islands in the Pacific to the atomic test site in Nevada, documenting activities for film reports that told the story of nuclear weapons testing by the United States.
As usual, taxpayer money was best spent glorifying the actions of our servicemen and making us sound tougher and cooler than we really were.
Photographic personnel are deployed and work closely with units in the field to obtain documentary and record photography.
And setting the rhythm of world thought.
It was at the Holloman test track where we photographed this chimp's preparation and test for the accelerated G's with which man has moved out into space.
Combined that entire time, every studio. They made more movies here. It just makes you wonder how much of anything we've seen in the last
And we photographed this
70 plus years is
100,000
real.
feet over the Pacific
I'm
Island
with you.
testing range.
Can you back it up to the monkey?
We also recorded the
This
zero
person.
launch of an Air
Can you back it
Too
up
far.
to the monkey?
Force this chimp's preparation and test for the accelerated G's with which man has moved out into space.
We filmed ourselves thrusting into the air, blowing shit up, attacking someone else's stuff, blowing stuff up again, simulating death, glorifying death, actually triggering death, recording death from Jerry Bruckheimer angles, and we filmed ourselves thumbs-upping afterwards, all of which the government created an underground storage facility to control and contain all the film, all the angles, all the explosions, all the thumbs up, in miles and miles of corridors of 16mm and 35mm film vaults, kept at optimal temperature, and controlled for later review and glorification of the country.
I mean, is this some kind of weird government porn? It's beyond selfies.
It's snuff films.
For communications, as well as surveillance and operation of remote cameras, to obtain the spectacular film you have just viewed, we have developed a video and VHF radio system.
Our engineers have figured out how to lace an entrainment signal into the broadcast that pacifies and numbs most of the population.
To show that supersonic jets can
This
shoot
button
down
creates a
slow-flying
calming
aircraft,
signal
we designed and built a wing pod
to make sure no one will ever dissent again.
on an F-100 trailing this Thunderchief. And recorded the kill.
Once again,
Wait,
we've blown stuff up
That
on
didn't even
camera.
look. That kind of looked like a model. Did you see that?
Camelot. 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 It's only a model.
It's not about what's real, Gary. It's about perception.
The difficulties in obtaining this type of air-to-air footage led to the development of a more sophisticated camera housing.
After dozens of cameras were blown up, we created a way to keep cameras from being blown up when stuff is blowing up.
Fully weaponizing Hollywood.
Aircraft or camera pod. Here is a sample of the type of footage being obtained.
How do you know if this is real or fiction?
Like all good cameramen, ours do almost anything and go anywhere.
From major explosive special effects, to monkeys in
Our
space,
cameramen are also
to
qualified
planes,
aerial photographers, for they must often take to the air itself.
it could have happened here in the studio,
Like this
and you'd never
F-101
know.
interceptor. Documenting significant Air Force events.
Or was it on a Hollywood soundstage controlled by the Air Force?
Or the flight of this U-2.
Most of the special effects you've seen for the last 70 years came from this facility.
F-102s.
Expensive planes and gut-busting expensive planes. Budget-destroying planes and country-destroying planes.
F-105.
Is this a sales
Left-turning
video?
planes.
F-106s.
We just filmed all our planes. Now we'll send that video to Saudi Arabia for their review of how many they want to buy.
F-101s. We have them all on film.
And a very threatening video we can send south.
Highly skilled still photographers are also assigned here, operating a complete lab
Who is this
facility,
film for?
producing transparencies
Who was
like
it for?
I mean, this is a classified official use only. Official use for
these.
who?
Prints like these.
It was for 50 years of everything the public ever saw of anywhere in the world and any news event being reviewed, classified, and released through official channels after screening for all kinds of factors that they don't want the public to know about.
For stored in this vault are thousands of cans of irreplaceable and classified film.
A lot of this is
Millions
still
of feet
classified
documenting
to this
the
day.
Atomic
What they
Energy
did.
Program, as well as Air Force footage, currently being produced at Lookout Mountain. Small wonder, nothing is
Rectum
left to
exams
chance.
are very controversial,
Doors are often firmly locked.
but film
Guarding
reviews
those
are
men and
accepted
women
and
who,
widely
like these
tolerated.
negative cutters, must handle the
Unauthorized
film in
footage
their
is
daily work.
burned, while others are stored in this gold vault next to bars of gold.
And the place where they put the Ark of the Covenant.
Some film, of course, is not classified. Here, a producer and editor agree on a sequence they'll use in a film being made for general release.
Shock and awe, always done best with media coverage.
The sequence
media
chosen?
coverage.
The launch of an Atlas missile at Vandenberg.
This is how a whole generation's
There,
worldview got
at Vandenberg
changed.
Air Force Base, we have a second photographic unit at work, the 1369th Photographic
It's a
Squadron.
van in a shady windowless.
It's just some guy in a van.
Processing instrumentation and
Ew.
documentary of activities at this West Coast.
Creepy, unmarked military laboratories with shady vans.
We watch people go to
You
the
think the
bathroom.
plumbing in a missile is complex? Here, for example, is the recirculating system serving all
We
developing
watch them
machines in the
sleep.
film laboratory. An
It's
array
what, the
of
biggest
tanks and
studio in
valves
all of
not usually
Hollywood?
associated with the
This
job
is
of
how
making
your
film.
perception has been manufactured. In a creepy, windowless laboratory with a rape van parked out front.
In addition to the modern laboratory, squadron activities are housed in 8 buildings. This one houses the documentary photo department.
Basically,
Here's a
this
typical
place
camera
is
crew
your
at
next
work,
war
shooting
is
scenes
media
of an
ready.
Atlas. Here's another. The footage they get may also be used in training films. The instrumentation photo section is charged with the installation and operation of all tracking and remote camera equipment at Vandenberg. Operational requirements call for camera coverage from all angles. This striped box, mounted high on the Thor launcher, contains a high-speed camera set
They
to
do
record
all this
mock
in-house. They
flying
film it, they script it, they develop it, they do all the editing.
They animate it if necessary.
to get engine
The
started.
studio is larger than any other in Hollywood and draws from its
This
top talent.
16mm Mitchell will get liftoff.
Each time something took off or exploded, we filmed it
Motion picture
with hundreds of
camera
angles.
coverage is provided for
Wow, they
everyone.
get photo helmets.
All equipment checked out and ready to go. So that when the countdown ends and the missile is fired,
How cool would you feel wearing your
cameras
photo
monitored from
helmet?
the blockhouse will roll, and the men will be on station, tracking each missile on its ballistic flight downrange.
In film language, each rising missile symbolized a Freudian phallic member.
Oh, wow. You are gonna go there.
And here they track Atlas as it leaves the pad.
This green screen effect was achieved in order to help win the Cold
Recently,
War.
the 1369th absorbed
How many
both
cameras is
photographic
that?
personnel and facilities of the Point Arguello portion of the Pacific Missile Range.
Top Gun was filmed
Formerly
here.
Navy function, our squadron is now charged with the motion picture and still coverage.
Actually, it was
of that
filled with
vast launch
CIA-laden
complex, as
Department
well
of
as the
Defense
Vandenberg
propaganda because they agreed to let the CIA
Detachment 2
edit their
of the
script.
1352nd Photographic Group, based at Colorado Springs, Colorado, supports Air Force activities in that area. Photographic
Nice.
equipment and trained technicians are available for almost any type of assignment.
They're dispatched in this Ghostbusters mobile.
For the Air Defense Command
From
on
right
the
here in
soundstage
our
utilized
glorious
by
studio.
detachment personnel.
Wag the Dog was filmed here. We are Wag the Dog. This lot was meant to look like a freezing snow.
In addition
Watch
to
as these
covering
men walk
activities
through as
like
if
this,
it's just regular temperature.
Detachment 2 cameramen are documenting the construction of the NORAD Underground Combat Operations Center at Cheyenne Mountain.
This is how the moon landing
At
was
Green River, Utah,
sequenced.
photographic instrumentation and documentary photography.
Here's
is
where
being
the
obtained
earthen
for the
base
Avery and
material
Pasadena
was
program.
collected.
A program
Here's
designed
where the
to
base
study the
layer was
phenomena and
filmed to
trajectory
add on.
dynamics of re-entry vehicles. At March Air Force Base in Riverside,
Where your
California,
news comes
we have
from.
Detachment 7, covering SAC activities. This unit will provide the combat documentary photo team to support 15th Air Force deployments. Closer to home in Inglewood, California, we have
Inglewood,
Detachment
Inglewood,
4,
always up to no good.
charged with both photographic and television support to the Space Systems and Ballistic Systems divisions of the Air Force Systems Command.
Kubrick's program was at first not considered due to budget considerations, then later approved, then fast-tracked, then classified, then made secret, then buried, then destroyed.
This unit covers Air Force activities ranging all over the largest state
We
in the
train
Union,
Eskimos in the art of photography.
from bases in the Aleutian Islands to snow-covered runways in the far north.
Because it's easier to make propaganda in a place
Our
where no
crews
one
get
else
scenes
lives.
like this one, a C-123 taking off from Utopia, an airstrip built on the side of a mountain.
We're able to use
32
model
degree
planes
downhill
and
runway.
convincing sets to take you there without going
A
there.
far cry from the snow and ice is detachment.
Palm trees are used to add a tropical look.
This
This is the point when the government basically became like your crazy aunt, with photograph book after photograph book, piled up with things that weren't even important or all that interesting, again and again. And here, in this shot, yet again, the government became obsessed with itself, photographing itself, looking at itself in the mirror, and filming itself from multiple angles. It became so obsessed that new warehouses were created under this basement studio to house yet another shot of themselves and their cool stuff, as well as their cool things blowing up or blowing other things up.
House trailers, located just a city block from the 2nd Air Division headquarters. The unit is air transportable, has its own power supply,
Propaganda on the
a
go.
fully equipped still photo laboratory.
We can keep your leading sitcoms on air even in the event of a national grid
of this
down.
combat documentary unit.
We're fully staffed with actors,
Our crews cover
film,
a variety of events.
And a 300-day supply of news events.
Obtaining footage for film reports that cover Air Force activities in the counterinsurgency operations of Southeast Asia.
Everything you know about over there, we told you right here.
The elements, as well as the Viet Cong rebels.
As well as justifying this war, for which we have no justification.
This swimming pool was filled with water and then convincing reeds as our actors, working on behalf of the U.S. Army, walked through in fatigues.
Housed in our camera pods, mounted on the underside of the aircraft wing.
A tenth of all taxpayer money spent on wars was spent photographing our own equipment and troops.
God, that is really sad because it's probably true.
The eruption of Kilauea volcano in Hawaii supplied some spectacular footage.
Will we tell you it's real
Things
or
may
fiction?
get real hot at times, but our cameramen get the picture.
This is proof we live in Alice in Wonderland.
Have you ever seen a river of molten lava? Or the catch of an Aegina capsule high above the Pacific Ocean? Cameramen of the 1352nd have recorded these events on film.
These are called propaganda products.
No matter where or when a United States Air Force event takes place,
This is a reminder that all knowledge is authorized.
or the Himalayan mountains of Asia, 1352nd personnel will be there to get it all on
And
film.
when you do see it, it'll come from
Putting it
your
all
government.
together, it adds up to 7 detachments, a squadron.
Your picture of the world is the picture we authorized. Remember, this is not something the public can see. Secret and safe. Secret is safe. Our control will last forever. You'll never even perceive the control. Don't tell anyone. Portions of this film were financed by the CIA.
I mean, this is how nobody really knows what's been going on for real in the world for the last 70 plus years.